Suddenly, he awoke, and was running raw, in raw-seamed hot khaki, his sweat heavy, stumbling across a field of clods toward a green hedge that dazzled with rifle fire, hearing bullets smacking the belly out of the air. He lugged a rifle numb as a smashed arm, the patriotic tear that had brimmed in his eye, sweating like molten iron from the centre of his chest. In bewilderment then, he almost stopped. In what cold clockwork of the stars and the nations was either hand pointing that second? He was running, like a man who has jumped up in the dark and runs, listening between his footfalls for the reason of his still running, and his foot hung like statue amid stride. Then the shot slashed furrows threw up a yellow hair that rolled like a flame and crawled in a threshing circle, its mouth wide open, silent, its eyes standing out. He plunged past with his bayonet towards the green hedge. King, honour, human dignity, etc., dropped like luxuries in a yelling alarm, to get out of that blue crackling air, as terrors touchy dynamite.
Rain, midnight rain, nothing but the wild rain, on this bleak cup, and solitude and me, remembering again that I shall die, and neither hear the rain nor give it thanks, for washing me cleaner than I have ever been, since I was born into solitude. Blessed are the dead that the rain rains upon, but here I pray that none whom I have once loved is dying tonight or lying still awake, solitary, listening to the rain, either in sympathy or thus in pain, helpless among the living and the dead, like a cold water among broken reeds. Myriads of broken reeds are all stiff and still, like me, who have no love, which is this wild rain, is not dissolved except the love of death. If love it be towards what is imperfect, cannot the tempters tell me disappoint.
Our brains ache in the merciless icy winds that knife us. Wearied, we keep awake because the night is silent. Low drooping flares confuse our memory of the assailant. Worried by silence, sentry whisper, curious, nervous, but nothing happens. Watching, we hear the mad gusts tugging on the wire, like twitching agonies of men among its brambles. Northward, incessantly, the flickering gunnery rambles. Far off, like a dull rumour of some other war. What are we doing here? The poignant misery of dawn begins to grow. We only know war lasts, rain soaks and clouds sag stormy. Dawn massing in the east, her melancholy army attacks once more in ranks on shivering ranks of grey. But nothing happens. Sudden successive fights of bullets streak the silence, less deadly than the air that shudders black with snow. With sidelong flowing flakes that flock, pause and renew. We watch them, wandering up and down the wind's nonchalance, but nothing happens. Pale flakes with fingering stealth come feeling for our faces. We cringe in holes, back on forgotten dreams, and stare, snow-dazed, deep into grassier ditches, so we drowse, sun-dozed, littered with blossoms trickling where the blackbird fusses. Is it that we are dying? Slowly our ghosts drag home, glimpsing the sunk fires, glozed with crusted dark red jewels. Crickets jingle there. For hours the innocent mice rejoice. The house is theirs, shutters and doors all closed. On us the doors are closed. We turn back to our dying. Since we believe not otherwise can kind fires burn, now ever suns smile true on child or fruit or field. For God's invincible spring our love is made afraid, therefore not loath we lie out here, therefore we're born, for love of God seems dying. Tonight this frost will fasten on the mud and on us, shrivelling many hands and puckering foreheads crisp. The burying party picks and shovels in shaking grasp, pours over half-known faces, all their eyes are ice, but nothing happens.
We gained our first objective hours before, while dawn broke with face with blinking eyes, pallid, unshaven and thirsty, blind with smoke. Things seemed all right at first. We held their line. with bombers posted, Lewis guns well placed, and the clink of shovels deepening the shallow trench. The place was rotten with dead, green, clumsy legs, high-booted, sprawled and grovelled along the saps, and trunks, face downward in the sucking mud, wallowed like trodden sandbags loosely filled, and naked, sodden buttocks, mats of hair, bulged, clotted heads, slept in the plastering slime. And then the rain began, the jolly old rain. A yawning soldier knelt against the bank, staring across the morning blear with fog. He wondered when the Allards would get busy, and then, of course, they started with 5-9s, traversing, sure as fate, and never a dud. Mute in the clamour of shells, he watched them burst, sprouting dark earth and wires with guests from hell, whilst posturing giants dissolved in drifts of smoke. He crouched and flinched, dizzy with galloping fear, sick of escape, loathing the strangled horror and butchered frantic gestures of the dead. An officer came, blundering down the trench. "Stand to and man the fire step." Oh, he went, gasping and bowling. "Fire step, counter-attack." Then the haze lifted, bombing on the right down at the old sap. Machine guns on the left and ambling figures looming out in the front. Oh Christ, they're coming us! Bullets splat, and he remembered his rifle, rapid fire, and started blazing wildly. Then bang! Crumpled the spun sideways, knocked him out. To grunt and wriggle, none heeded him. He choked, and fought the flapping veils of something gloom, lost in a blurred confusion of yells and groans. Down and down and down he sank, and drowned. Bleeding to death, the counter-attack had failed.
What passing dealt for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of guns, only the stuttering rifles' rapid rattle, can patter out their hasty orisons. No mockeries now for them, no prayers nor bells, nor any voice of mourning save the choirs, the shrill dementing choirs of their wailing shells, and bugles calling from them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all, not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their final pall, their flowers the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk a drawing down of blinds.
As I rode by, I saw the brown leaves dropping from their tree in a still afternoon, when no wind whirled them whistling to the sky, but thickly, silently. They fell like snowflakes wiping out the noon, and wandered slowly thence, for thinking of a gallant multitude, which now all withering lay, slain by no wind of age or pestilence, but in their beauty strewed, like snowflakes falling on the Flemish clay.